Mr. Aris and Miss Jasmine.
No, not you holding out. We could have switched, trying to have this whole 10 minutes.
Listen, you had the last word. I ain't gonna tussle about them no more. All right, so our favorite that we couldn't wait to get to. So Gina and Clint.
Let
You
Jr.
want to
go
go
because he
first,
was ready.
JR, since your clip was already partially unloaded?
We waiting on you, Jr.
Unmute. You're muted, JR.
You muted,
Yeah,
bro.
so I was like, yeah, so the clip I was actually talking about was obviously when they get in the group setting, like Aris is kind of in a position where he's hearing what Clint said and how it's gone down. So he has to make sure that he doesn't follow that path, right? Because him and Clint were boys when they were hazing Chris at the beginning. But it seems like because of the lead balloon that was, like it's kind of made him more aware of how it's going to go down if he does say something about Jasmine's appearance like that. But to give her a 4, that's bad. I'm surprised they didn't jump on that a lot more, because that's very similar to what, in fact, it's very similar to what Gina said. It's like, you're not feeling the person, so and you expect them to take it, and it's very difficult to take when you're into someone and they're not feeling you. It might be hard to process, or might be hard to accept. That's why I
Wait,
think Jasmine is
JR,
also
who gave
trying.
who a 4? Clint gave
um
Gina a 4?
no, Eris gave Jasmine a 4 out of 10
You just
in
want to do
terms
what
of
you want to do. I
JR,
see.
you are not
Because we gave you the floor to talk about
what
Clint
in
and
the
Gina,
heck?
and now you
oh
got
about Clint.
Aris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What?
Oh,
What's going
What
on
is
with
going
my
on?
brother?
sorry.
You just pulled a
With Clint.
Seaway.
You said
Okay.
I'm gonna do
That's
what
not
I
me.
want
I
to
stay
do.
on
Sorry, I'm
topic.
tired as well. I'm tired like Seaway, right? But yeah, with Clint. So Clint, I don't think I know there was some malice in it, but I don't think it was designed to cause the damage that it did. I think what happened was basically what she said last week. Yeah, that was a humdinger for him. And when she repeated it again at the table in front of the groups, because they're all talking about attraction or lack thereof. And yeah, she reiterated that she's not into ginger guys, right? So he said, yeah, well, I'm used to dating girls who are more slender, more athletic, blah, 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 blah. And automatically you had Nicole go off. Like Nicole went off, standing together in solidarity because they're all big boned. And so, okay, that's cool. But listen, when Gina was with the ladies, she didn't give the full story as to what happened. So that colored their view of what Clint said. So they went in on him quite hard, right? So she got her support, and then she challenged him afterwards. But I'll let you guys go.
Funny thing, JR, actually, well, when I saw the after show, it proved to me that the outrage that the women had was manufactured to a certain extent, because they actually did get the full story. They just edited that part out. Yeah, they actually, well, the whole ginger comment happened the day before. Apparently, they were talking about it, and Gina brought it up again. That's when he came with his comment, because it was funny. Keisha asked, she asked Dominic, well, since you were there, is that true? She's like, well, yeah. That's when I went, well, wait a minute, what was the outrage for then? And she clearly said that she didn't really like gingers, but then try to turn it around and to say, well, I had a ginger ass boyfriend, and I keep ginger people. I've done their hair before. I'm like, minute. What's going on here? I got confused. I was like, wait a minute. So you mean the scene that y'all showed us in the show was so edited up and these women getting so riled up for basically nothing?
Exactly, because the confessionals, when you saw Nicole, she was like, Clint, like make it, it just went way too far with it, right? And I'm surprised to hear that, because the way that they went in, it was like it was a bombshell, right? So,
Yeah.
and I didn't watch the after show, but
yeah, Kojo was right. They're trying to turn him into the villain. They're trying,
exactly.
They need a villain.
And that's something I noticed with Gina. What she did, she incited it and then tried to play the victim when she got the same treatment back on her.
It was weird.
And
I was like, wow.
That to me is villainous, right?
We do.
Yeah, it's like you can dish it, but you can't take it.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
I will say though.
Well, we already know they're done, so
yeah, they're done. But here's the problem with Clint. Clint's a liar, and on the after show, Keisha and I tried to make him tell the truth. He keeps trying to act like he wasn't retaliating against Gina. He was gaslighting her, talking about he don't know, he didn't know that it would be offensive. That's where I draw the line with Clint. I didn't mind him having to get back, you know what I mean? But you're going to have to admit that it was a get back. You can't keep playing like you didn't know that you were trying to get her back. Talking about, I didn't know it was offensive, and if I could do it all again, I wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. Lying. And I didn't like that part. So I think Clint deserves smoke for that, because if you're going to try to get that girl back, stand on your own too. I can't stand people who gaslight and play in people's faces. And that's what he was doing. Yeah, exactly. Throwing stones and trying to hide his hand. That's some whack stuff, because he knows he was trying to get her back. And honestly, I don't have no problem with him trying to get her back, because she's constantly saying that he's ginger features. Like I said last time, it comes off as very discriminatory. He even said on the Afterlife that he finds it to be discriminatory. He didn't want to push it and call it like racism, because you don't want to be that white person that calls it racism. But he was trying to allude, and I was kind of disappointed at Keisha acting like she don't understand the history of it. I found that to be kind of ignorant, but that she never knew that type of statements would be offensive. Maybe people just need to spend more time around people of different backgrounds, colors, and whatever, because I grew up knowing that was a very rude thing to say like that. But I also grew up with a lot of white people and black people, and I grew up, hearing that and seeing that it was, offensive. Stop, Seaberg, talking about this white on white discrimination has got to stop.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to stop trying to drive this racism point into the ground.
It's not
racism.
It's not racism, because
it's offensive. You're 100% right.
It's discriminatory. And I think people have to realize that they are also ostracized for various reasons, and to pretend like we don't see it and it's not derogatory just because it's not as bad as what black people get doesn't make it okay. And for me, I'm not okay with anybody being discriminatory about anything. So I don't care if it's less so than what black people feel. You don't get a pass for being ignorant and being rude. And you also don't get a pass for being ignorant and rude and mad that somebody calls you thick, big boned, and whatever. And now in that, women have to stop with the delusion. Your waist is not a 26. I don't care how many times you tell yourself it is. Is Gina a baddie? In my opinion, absolutely. I think Gina is bad. I think Gina's probably the best person that Clint will pull. I'm with McKinley on that. I don't think he's pulling people better than Gina. That's my opinion. I can have one. I think Gina's bad, in my personal opinion. I think she looks fantastic, but her waist is not a 26, and she needs to stop lying to herself. But she looks great.
Anu, you gonna add to that, Anu?
Immediately.
Ooh, the cat.
Gina ain't bad. Gina bad.
No, sorry. No.
I think so. See how we all got an opinion? I really think so though.
a beast on her lip.
I
No,
just think Clint knows better. Like the emotional, I mean, Arius playing him as emotionally immature, relationally mature is fine, but with Clint, like even though she was being pushed, I don't think it was being pushed. I feel like, or his feelings got hurt. Like he could have handled this a lot better, even if he felt that way. They could have about being called a ginger. They could have had this a lot of things one on one off the cameras to kind of sort that thing through. I don't like how it kind of played out for the past couple episodes on camera, right there. It's just and it just led to just huge reaction to the point, which I'm like, what's the essence of what we're trying to get down with Clint? Is Clint actually calling? Clint was trying to describe his his relationship history versus calling her those things, but somehow they got interchanged. He needs to. I think they both need to apologize a lot better than they did. It just letting it fester till the next day didn't make any sense. Like it just seems like, I like you like me, then you don't like me. I don't like you, then it's going to go back and forth for the next couple of weeks. I don't know how to deal with this. Clint, I mean, for someone who says that they're this relationship solvent, he's acting like a 5-year-old right now or a 15-year-old right now. So I just don't understand what we're going to do with this guy. Gina, she's getting away with, like, she's saying nothing but not saying nothing. Everything is just talking about how she doesn't like these type of guys, and then I'm talking about work. You don't hear him saying anything good about Clint. Honestly, it's everything negative that I don't like. And I'm like, if you don't like this person, it's okay to say it and move on versus saying, you know what, I don't go for this type of people. Again, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, like, again, I think Gina dates black dudes. I'm like, that's what she likes. And it's just like, hey, that's fine. Go be in your truth. Cause right now this isn't it. And like the way she's approaching this is someone who goes on a date with someone they don't like. And I'm gonna talk about everything just so we don't have to do this again, but you're doing the thing over and over again. It's getting annoying. I don't know how we get off this. And
I didn't even, usually I'm able to pick up on that type of stuff, but I did not come to that conclusion. So that's interesting. Something Seaway said a couple months ago, don't ask questions you don't like the answer to, you don't want to hear the answer to. Apparently this conversation happened like the night after the wedding. She asked him, she said, well, here I am laying in bed with somebody that I would have never thought that I'd be in bed with, that I'm not, or that I've never really been attracted to. So they've had this conversation about looks and looks for the last 6 days. And now for her to bring it up again, one, I did not know that the word ginger was this huge insult, and people comparing it to racism and colorism. That struck me. I was like, what? I didn't know that. I actually thought it was kind of a nice way of saying a redhead. He's calling them a ginger. I did not think that was that bad. So apparently, I just found out yesterday that was discriminatory. But I also think the way she was, I'm not attracted to gingery features. I was like, girl, you are putting this man down, and you hurt his feelings. The way I feel like I'm not attracted to gingery features. I'm just not attracted. That's basically, she said, I don't like your face. I felt like the way she said that that's it. Oh, you hurt his feelings immediately. That's what I thought. Not because he's a redhead. That's what that translated. Just me seeing that. She don't like your face. Whether it's the ginger, I was like, he don't have gingery features. He's a redhead. He looks like if he had dark hair, he'd look like everybody else. But I was like, she's insulting him. And also, something Seaway said earlier is, you were trying to get her back. Now that was you trying to do a tit for tat, and now you've done it in front of other people. So just admit that you were trying to get her back. She hurt your feelings the day before, and now this is a conversations that you guys have been having all week. It was the fact that you had it in front of 5 other women, 4 of them. I think Jasmine's on the thinner side, but all of the other ladies are on the thicker side. So that was his big problem. That was what took him over the top. And now in my older age, because I'm like, if I got a problem, I'm gonna say it right now, and and so we can squash it. I think she was so hurt. She said, "Let me sit on this. Let me just sleep on this." And so now she's bringing it up. But I also agree that he don't know how to apologize. One, he didn't. That's how he felt. He felt how he felt. So he's not going to truly. He's like, I'm really sorry that he's kind of more sorry that he hurt all the other ladies' feelings. He's not really necessarily sorry that he hurt her feelings. He didn't really care about that because she already hurt his feelings the night before. So apparently the word ginger is an insult. I had no idea, and I will take that into consideration. And these two, and also she's the type, she just don't put up with nothing, because he was trying to apologize badly, but he was trying to move past it. And she kept bringing it up, and she kept bringing it up, and she kept bringing it up. And she's like, well, now I'm done. And we need to spend the rest of the time apart. I was like, girl,
well, he didn't,
he
didn't acknowledge what he did, though.
He didn't, but he doesn't. He didn't acknowledge.
Past something that you don't acknowledge. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I can't move past anything unless you say that you were trying to hurt me, because that's what he was trying to do.
It wasn't.
I think you're missing something. She wasn't apologetic in what she said either, right?
No, neither one.
Like we said, like, she's been talking about this gingery features and what she's not attracted to for the whole since the beginning. And then when she's not talking about that, she's talking about work. And then she even tried to justify what she's been saying to him repeatedly about his ginger features by saying, oh, well, I do ginger people's hair too, and I don't have a problem doing their hair. What has that got to do with how your hair?
I have black friends.
How you hurt my feelings? What does that have to do with how you hurt my feelings?
Yeah, so she was gaslighting too, Seaway, like you was accusing him. They're equal in my book.
No, they both are equal.
But when you said about playing in people's face,
trying to move forward. I'm only responding to the idea. He wasn't trying to move forward because he's playing in her face and she's playing in his face. Neither one of them are trying to move forward.
Okay, so who was trying to reconcile the situation out of?
Neither one. Neither one.
Trying to get him to say. Now, Seaway, you are correct. She was trying to get him to say, I apologize. I should not have said that. And she was trying to get him to say that, but he was not hearing that. That's what I should have said, that I apologize to you for not saying slender, for calling her, because in his head, she said, I don't like your face. In her head, you're fat. So both of them were wrong. Both of them were wrong.
And neither one of them conceded. Now, if someone keeps making this point, I'm sorry, I'm missing your name, you can comment again. If we're believing that men are supposed to be the leader, then the person who was supposed to concede, if they were at the standstill, was supposed to be Clint, if that's what we're going to believe in. But if we're not going to, I don't know why you're making that face, Sean. If you're talking about men are the leader, head of household, blah, 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 if you guys are both wrong, then the man in theory should concede at some point. But I'm not saying what I believe in. I'm talking about what y'all sit around and talk about all the time.
Yeah, no, nobody ever said that. If somebody believes that they're wrong, the leader needs to concede. No, that's a backdoor way to get to not being heard. No, I mean, I don't think a man should make an effort. I think as a leader, a man shouldn't escalate, right? You shouldn't escalate, or you shouldn't, come out of character. Right. But it doesn't mean that if you feel like you're right and she feels like she's right and y'all are at a moot point, that just because you're the leader, you need to concede. No, that's not the case. You can say we need to table this. right? We can table this and come back to it at a later time and we can have a better conversation. But conceding, no, that's not what a
I don't.
leader
I think C Perk understood what I was saying. It's not. It's not
No,
black
he's saying
and white.
right to me, not to you.
No, I'm talking about above that statement. It's the right word is not concede, but it's like you need to guide the conversation and not stay at this standstill. And not only did he escalate it by doing the get back, when it was time to actually have the standoff, he neither guided the conversation or conceded in the traditional sense or did anything to move the conversation forward. He was just as petty as her. And I fully understand that she was wrong first. I'm addressing the comment about if men are supposed to be the leader, in theory, the way people talk about. At some point, if you guys are still at the petty meter,
We
he
don't
did
know
was
what his
double down.
belief system is, so
we-
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
project that onto him.
I
The
hear
whole
what you're
leadership
saying.
Tell him I understanding what
I
I'm
would
saying.
the whole
never expect that.
Yeah,
to
but
happen.
yeah,
is in our community. It's not in their community.
Right.
Like,
But
to that extent.
I don't
So
see
that
that.
theory they may not even subscribe to. That may not even be
I'm
something that
not
they even
talking about them personally. I'm using them as an example about how we talk about the relationships and about how him as a man not only escalated it, and I'm not saying he didn't have to. I'm not saying he wasn't right. I'm not saying he didn't have a right to get her back. But I'm talking about if you actually want a healthy relationship, all he did as a man is lead them into the pits of hell the way in their interaction.
I don't
That's
see
all
this
I'm saying.
as a man woman thing. I'm sorry. I guess that's
Yeah,
where we disagree. I hear what you're
just think
saying.
it's-
I think it's just two people who don't know how to resolve conflict effectively. I don't think that as a man he should do this, and as a woman she should do that. Right? You know, they're just two unhealthy people venting and not handling their frustrations with each other in the right way.
Hold on. Let me pull
Stand
this
up.
back for a second and talk about the real issue is this apology issue. They're both seeking for an apology from one another, which none of them gonna mean it because they both think they're right in the situation. So apology is going to be won't even matter. They both think they're right in this particular situation with what was said to one another. So y'all looking for apology back and forth, it won't matter because even if I apologize to you, like C-Way is saying, I'm the leader, I should apologize. Do you think I'm actually going to mean the apology? Is that apology going to come off sincere? I don't think so. And neither will yours.
just to keep the peace.
Happens.
But so what do you guys think about her just walking away then? And walking away is not healthy either. Onu had his hand up. I'm sorry.
Yo,
No, but that's what he wanted to do the whole time. So that's the thing. Like, no apology would be forthcoming from her rival, and she started it. She actually started with this whole "I hate the features" thing first, and she's had no problem with repeating it over and over again to the man's face, right? So I'm not defending Clint, but I'm saying let's call it what it is. She's been on about how he looks to her well before he made the comment about, well, I usually date girls who are a bit more slender and athletic. That's what he said. He didn't call her out for being FAT. He didn't say, look, you're too big to be talking to me like that. He didn't say nothing like that. But it's been taken in that way. And let's be real, the other brides, it doesn't matter what Clint thinks because they're not with Clint. I know they're trying to support Gina in the situation, but he wasn't aiming it directly at them. It was a comment about his previous dating experience and how the person he's matched with isn't who he has previously dated in terms of the way they look. Right? So it's taken that way because she's oversensitive, but she's quite willing to keep bringing up what she doesn't like. And again, when you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones. If you know you're that sensitive, or maybe she doesn't know because she's never been told that before. But if you're that sensitive, don't be putting out the same stuff that's gonna hurt you, right? Like treat people how you want to be treated type thing. So she is definitely trying to get him to apologize in that instance. But is it going to further their relationship if he did? Let's be real, it's not. because he's still going to be Ginger. She's still not going to like his appearance. So the apology isn't going to mean anything. It will just be a victory for her in